I'm going to send my daughter. She's 5. Just go ask the lady at the cash register. The American lady just right there. Go ask her, are you the Muslim lady? And come back and tell me. That's all. Don't, you know. She said, why? I said, because maybe, you know, she said, are you going to marry her? I said, well, we're going to see about it. Okay. So I'm standing there with the other little girl, waiting. It seemed like years, you know, how time. And then all of a sudden I heard, ah, like this. Oh, I don't know what happened. And then my daughter came back. She said, okay, that's the Muslim lady. And she said, come back at 7 o'clock or sometime when she gets a break. I said, really? Why? She said, she wants to talk to you. Oh, great. Boy, I couldn't think of anything else. We come back, and then she said, okay, we want to go down in somewhere like in a restaurant someplace, like fast food, just to sit and talk. We get Coke, and we sit there, we're talking. She immediately told me the status. She didn't play around, nothing. She said, I'm a Muslim lady. I want to talk about if I get married, I need to be married to a Muslim man. He has to pray 5 times a day, as so-and-so. Boy, she laid it out really quick. I went, oh, okay. And, yeah, she said, well, what do you expect from a woman? I said, really, all I want is somebody to take care of my kids. But a Muslim, of course, you know, but that's the big thing. You know, this is how men are. So she said, okay, we'll talk about it. That's it. She walked off, and there I am. I'm thinking, wow, is there any chance for me with this lady, you know? Next morning, she gave me her phone number. Next morning, I called her up. Fajr time. She answered the phone. Hello? I said, Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam. I said, oh, it's Fajr time. She said, I have a clock. Thank you. Know how to tell time. Okay. Been praying 20 years. Know all about it. I said, oh, sorry. Oop. Then I called her up again. This is Thanksgiving week, by the way. I called her up again the next day, Tuesday. I said, oh, by the way, I thought I would tell you I got to go down to Houston, Texas on a business deal. And make dua for me. I hope it's going to be a good business deal when I come back. You know, if you don't mind, I'd like to call you and make an appointment to talk to you again. She said, okay. Bye-bye. Assalamu alaikum. Okay. Deal worked out really good. One of the few deals I pulled off that whole year that actually was one of those business deals that really worked. I was so happy I come back, had money in my hand. Called her up Thanksgiving Day, and I said, what are you going to do on Thanksgiving? She said, well, I don't want to go to my folks' house because I know what they're going to do. They're going to have the turkey, they're going to drink some alcohol, or they're going to do so-and-so, and people are going to be smoking cigarettes and all these things, which I don't like. She said, I'm looking for any excuse to go anywhere. I said, would you come to my father's house and be with us over there? And there's something that I thought maybe you'd like to see, this video, which is very interesting. It's called The Message. She said, I've always wanted to see that. Let's do that. She came over. While she was there, I couldn't find it. I found the wrong movie thing and put in there some debate or something. And she just stared at me like, sure. Then my father was, at that stage, not a Muslim yet. But he was very close to Islam. And my father has a great sense of humor. He's watching me try to talk to this lady, and he's laughing at me. Oh yeah, this is tell you a true story. And then what happened, I messed up the tape and the thing, and now she's sitting there looking at me like, my daughter comes running in, the same little daughter, and she said, Dad, are you going to marry her? Then she goes over to the lady and she says to her, are you going to marry my dad? She smiled, she looked at her and she said, well, he hasn't asked me yet. She comes over to me, Daddy, ask her. I glance over at my dad and he's cracking up. He's having a ball with this. This is funny, you know. He's like, look at you, man, you're in it. I said, okay, whoa. Okay. She said, what do you mean okay? I said, you know, do you want to? Do you want to what? You know, get married. She said, that's a proposal? I said, well, you know. She said, no, I don't know anything. I said, if you want to say something, say it right. I said, well, would you like to get married? She said, I think you can do better than that. And my dad fell over. He's dying laughing. He said, that's funny. And I'm looking for support. I'm getting nothing from him. She said, I would really like it if you'd say it like what I always dreamed about a man should say to a woman, like a real proposal. Won't you put your knee on the ground and ask me? I said, I'm not sure that's in Islam. She said, well, it's good for me. Let me hear you. I said, okay. Would you marry me? And she just sat there, and I'm going, oh, God. Then she said, I'll never forget her words. She said, well, I must be crazy because I'm going to say yes. And then I was like, oh. Right then the telephone rang. Saved by the bell. I ran out of the room and left her there with the kids and my dad. I answered the phone. And guess who was on the phone? Can you guess? The brother. The brother who's supposed to help me. And he said, brother, I've been talking to my wife. She's thinking maybe she can set something up that you can meet this lady next week, maybe this weekend. I said, brother, where are you? He said, I'm at the masjid up the street from you. I said, listen, what are you doing? I have already met this lady. He said, how? I said, never mind how. In fact, she's here in my house right now. He said, what? Haram, brother. I said, wait a minute. Hold on. He said, why is she there? I said, because I asked her to marry me. What did she say? I said, yes. He said, we'll be right over. I said, who's we? Next thing I know, 3 brothers from the masjid are there banging on the door. We can let them in. They told her, you can go in the other room. So that I wanted to talk to the brothers. So she went in the kitchen. And they told me what's Islam in marriage. I didn't really know. I had no clue. And they spelled it out for me. And then one of them, he said, she needs a representative, and this is wrong. She has to have somebody represent her. So, one of them, he asked, did you like me to represent you? She said, yes. And he said, sister, this is Islam, so we need to tell you what goes with this deal. This man has to do this and this and this and this, and it has to be in writing. And then he has to give you things. What do you like? What do you want? And I'm going, hey, take it easy, guys. The next thing I know, there's a marriage contract drawn up, and it's all official with witnesses and everything. And what do you think? We got married, and she went back home. Yeah. That was our first night. She just left. Because she said, well, there's no rush. And actually, it was several days before we actually got the chance to be even in the same house together. And alhamdulillah, we've been together ever since. I'm going to tell you something. She's a better mother to those children than their real mother was. Really. And they call her mom. They love her so much. And now this lady is the one who helps me. And I wouldn't be sitting here now talking to you about this subject if it weren't for her taking care of all the booking and doing all the work. And these brothers know that. How many times you made the phone calls, talked to her. So how many times she took care of everything. And my daughter's raised the same way. Now my daughter, she's 20 years old. And she's also been very, very instrumental in helping with so much of the work. And by the way, she's married now to a Muslim. And the other one is working the same way. And they make cookies and bread and sell it in the street in front of the masjid every week to help support this cause. And so I'm telling you again, I can't be a woman because I could never handle the pressure. I could never do what you ladies do. I'm so proud of you ladies, my Muslim sisters. Our mothers, our sisters, our daughters, I love all of you for the sake of Allah so much. And I'm very proud of you. And I just only have one request. Please forgive us and make dua for us. Because we really need your dua so much. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.